Hello, hello. We are live. Live. How are we doing? I'm excited to be here tonight. Wait for some people to get on. We are going to be doing my first live event, so I'm pretty excited. We are doing it's kind of like a lecture, I guess, but it's more of just some tips and advice. My 5 pro tips on performing full time, actually. So we are, hopefully I can see everybody here. That's participants. There we go. So if you're here, go ahead and say hello. Just trying to figure this all out again. Let's see here. If I can see people's chats here. It says 2 people are on. But yeah, so we're going to be doing a live event tonight. We'll wait a few minutes for people to join. Will be on my top 5 pro tips on performing full time. So I have lots of information to share with all of you. So I will be leaving this on YouTube though, so you don't have to worry about remembering everything because it will be a lot of information. I'm going to go kind of quickly through. And so we will just wait out here until we see some folks log on. Hopefully, maybe we won't do one tonight. Oh, there says 5 people on. Hey, there we go. People can, everybody see me okay and everything. Go ahead and say hello. What's up, Sean? Hey, Steve. How you doing? Thanks for joining. So yeah, I just finished up just a little bit ago doing all of my notes. So like I said, we're going to be going over my top 5 pro tips tonight. I have a couple of bonus tips, and then at the end we'll do a little Q&A. So if you maybe want to jot down some questions, so you don't forget, if you have any questions for me, I'll be answering questions at the end. It won't be too long after we begin here. I'll do some questions, and so appreciate everybody that's logged on so far. We got Sean, we got Steve Delaney. Thanks for coming on, Sean. Thanks for joining as well. And so yeah, I think let's see here. I think everybody's pop out chat, and I'm just trying to see. Oh, we don't want to do that. All right. So I guess we can, we'll go ahead and, a couple more minutes, we'll go ahead and begin. We got 5 folks watching. 4 folks. Okay. Stream. Well, let's see. Bear with me. I'm trying to figure this out here. All righty. Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, we will just go ahead and begin. And so I want to welcome everyone for tuning in. I'm just seeing here. All righty. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and begin. If anybody comes in a little bit later, that's okay. Like I said, because I will leave this up on my channel, and everyone can go ahead and listen to the information later. So let's go ahead and begin. So just had a couple texts. Some people are just hopping on now, so maybe give them a couple of minutes. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. Thank you for those that joined. I didn't know how many I would get on tonight, so for those that are on now, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. So are you guys ready to have some fun? And so I've been doing magic for over 20 years. Live in the Quad Cities in Davenport, Iowa. I worked and performed in Las Vegas, and I've been performing full-time for about 20 years now. So I came up with this idea. I wanted to just share. I feel I have a lot of knowledge. I have information that I'm happy to share with up and coming performers. And when I started to work on this, on my tips, I noticed that it wasn't necessarily geared for just magicians, but geared towards any entertainer in the entertainment business. So whether you're a singer, an actor, comedian, musician, I feel these tips will help you out. So you don't have to be, these tips that I'm going to give aren't necessarily for just magicians or for entertainers of any kind. So let's go ahead and begin. I just have a couple of some notes here. So you might see me looking down occasionally. I kind of wrote some things down because I didn't want to forget. So first of all, I want to say thank you again for those of you that are joining right now, and for those of you that watch this in the future. I really appreciate your support. I just started kind of really working on my YouTube channel during this whole pandemic, learning how to edit, which I'm still learning. And so I really appreciate. So let's go. Let's get into my top 5 pro tips for performing full time. These are just my opinions. So whether you agree with me or not on some of them, that's okay. These are things that have worked for me, and maybe they'll work for you as well. So I'm excited to share with you some suggestions and ideas. So, and then at the end, we'll be doing a Q&A. So here we go. Let's get it right into it. These are in no particular order. My number 1 on my list, we're going to start with networking. So networking is obviously to perform or be an entertainer full time. Like I said, this is one that's really worked for me. That I feel is very important, is networking. It's pretty simple. Obviously, networking. You know what networking is. The more people that know you, the better. So perhaps you could go to, I know here in the Quad Cities they have local networking meetings, things like that. Maybe you could join a club or some sort and just perform wherever you can, whenever you can. The more people that know you, obviously, the better. That's how you're going to get known in your community and just in general, so you can book more shows. There's no better advertisement than when you're out there performing. So one of the questions people have asked me, is how I book my shows and how I'm able to do it full time. A lot of people don't have business cards, so I think having business cards is very important. I always hand out my business card. Some magicians, some entertainers will tell you, you should only hand your business card out if people ask you for it. I disagree with this. For me, it's worked. I just always hand out my business card, whether they ask for it or not. I always hand out my business card. If you don't have business cards, I highly recommend you get a business card, and a great looking professional business card as well. And just hand them out. I mean, you can buy, get them really cheap, buy them in bulk, buy 1,000, 5,000. The more you buy, the cheaper they are. So just hand them out. Just hand them out as often as you can. Even if you're not performing, if you're just out in public and you meet someone, you're talking to them, you're talking about your services, make sure you have a card so they know how to contact you. You never know who you're going to meet. I've met a lot of people that have great connections. So the people you meet might have some connections. So you never know who you're going to meet. So always be prepared. Always have a business card with you. Carry them in your wallet, your purse. Just carry them with you in your car. I have some in my glove box, extra ones. I also made some rack cards too. So just always have make sure there's nothing worse than someone saying, can I have a business card? And then you reach in your wallet and you're like, I'm all out. Sorry. So always have a business card with you or some sort of information that you can give them so they know how to contact you. Also, the last thing I'm going to say with the networking too, kind of goes with the business card. I feel my opinion is you should have a website if you're serious about doing it full time, being a professional. How other people see you, you want to look professional, obviously, as well. So if you don't have a website, I highly recommend you would get a website. You have a website as well. Card Tricks. Hello, thank you for joining Card Tricks. Number 2 is professionalism. So you always want to act and present yourself in a professional manner. Okay, so I mean it seems like common sense, but I see entertainers all the time, and they're not acting very professional when they're out in public. And if you're trying to create your brand, your image, you always just have to carry yourself in a professional way in public, even if you're not performing. Just when you're out and about. In your appearance, the way you act, just how you carry yourself. Make sure, again, I kind of just touched base on this with the networking, but your business cards, your website, you want everything to look professional and top notch. So remember, you only get one chance to make a good first impression. So make sure everything looks good and professional. I've had clients hire me just because of my business card, just because of my website. They'll email me, they'll call me and say, I had a couple different entertainers in mind, but I hired you because I liked your website. I could tell you were very professional. So that goes a long way. So you always want to make a good first impression. So number 2, professionalism. Number 1, networking. Number 3 is basically just be personable. You just have to be a personable person. Okay. You got to be approachable. They're going to hire you. They want to talk to you. Be personable. If people like you, they're going to hire you. It's pretty simple. So even I've had some people tell me when they first start out that, they don't feel that maybe their skills aren't where they want them to be. Maybe they feel other entertainers are more accomplished than them. But if people like you, they're going to hire you, even if I've heard it in the past. People say, oh, well, we really liked you. That's why we hired you. I mean, if people like you, they're going to hire you. So it's always important to treat people with respect. The golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. And that goes a long way. A great personality, a great attitude. I have leave your ego at the door, because there's a fine line between confidence and if you stay humble, people enjoy watching you perform. So if you remember only one thing out of my whole little, I'm going to call it lecture, I guess, my whole little discussion, let's call it discussion. If you remember only one thing tonight, I hope you remember kind of what I guess I contribute to my success thus far is just, it's kind of what I live by. My motto is just always work hard and always stay humble. That is be personable. Number 3, 2 to go. Again, if you want to ask any questions right now while I'm speaking, in case you don't want to forget, and then I'll just kind of look in the chat and come back to it as well. So we got 2 more, then I got a couple of bonus tips, and then I'll take some questions, and then I'll let you be. So I appreciate you logging on. Looks like we got 6 people now, so thank you for those 6 folks. I really appreciate it. All right. Hey, Loyal Magic. What's up, Ryan? Number 4 is a big one. Very big, I think, is just your preparation. My first mentor told me, luck is just prior preparation meeting opportunity. So, I mean, basically it is exactly what it sounds like. If you're prepared when the opportunity arises, that's what you want to be prepared. You don't want to be, someone says, hey, can you do a show for me? And you don't have a show. I mean, you got to have a show. So take the time to develop one, but not just any show. You want it to be a great show. You want to really practice your craft. And I can't stress this enough, because I'm guilty of it. I'll admit, when I first started, I'm sure a lot of you can relate as well. This is, I guess, this one's more geared towards the magicians out there. But how many times do we learn something new and then we want to go out and perform it right away, right? Without putting in the time and the effort of practice. And then, of course, what typically happens is we mess up, right? So we want to save ourselves that embarrassment. So it's very important that you put in the proper time and work needed. So when you're ready to perform for a live audience, basically you're not going to mess up. So hello, Jennifer Magic. Thanks for joining. That was something else. I guess my first mentor also told me that he really admired me because he said that I don't meet a lot of, especially new magicians, beginning up and coming magicians that like to practice. And that was, I guess, one of my strong suits was I always really enjoyed to practice. And I've always enjoyed to practice. I was always very disciplined and just practice my craft and made sure that like I said, I can't stress this enough. When you first learn a trick, make sure you literally do it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times so you can do it in your sleep before you go out and just perform it. Because you don't want to, we all mess up, of course, we're only human. But you just want to make sure you're prepared and you put in the time and effort before you go out and perform something. Don't just learn it. Don't buy a trick, learn it, and then go perform it the next day or that night, because you're probably going to mess up, and then that you don't look very professional if you're just, it's going to happen. It's going to happen if you haven't put in the time. So, and one big point, as I learned in my career, there's a huge difference between practicing and rehearsing. So I'll say that again. There's a difference between practicing and rehearsing. So you want to do both. You want to make sure your act is polished before you perform for a live audience. Finally, number five. The last one is also a big one. Basically, it's just be yourself, be you. Okay, so I do it myself. Actually, we all need a little motivation, inspiration time to time. So I'll watch other magicians on YouTube and on TV. I look for them for inspiration, and but be original, be yourself. Like I said, it's okay to watch others for inspiration. Some people don't like to, but I do, because it motivates me, it inspires me to work on something, or if I'm already working on something, to get better at it. So definitely it'll help you be unique and just stand out from other entertainers. So be yourself, be original, don't copy others. And people will respect and admire you for that, if they see you're doing your thing. And so that's very important. And just have fun, just be yourself, and it'll go a long way in your performing career. Just be you. So we have a couple of bonus tips, and then if anyone has any questions, we'll take a couple questions. So a huge one, and I added a couple bonus tips. It was hard for me to come up with just 5 tips, and there's even more tips. But these are, like I said, 5 that have worked for me, and I hope that they'll help you as well. Okay, so it's not a guarantee they'll work for you, but I'm pretty confident they will definitely help you in some way, some sort of fashion. So my 2 bonus tips is patience. Okay, you just have to stay patient. I mean, I got frustrated years ago before I was doing it full time. I got frustrated a lot, and you just have to remember, it doesn't happen overnight. So it can take months or even years to build a clientele list. But just never give up, and just stay disciplined and always keep at it. You just have to be persistent, be proactive. Like myself, I'll see something on Facebook or, on the news about a variety show coming up or something like that. So anytime you see an opportunity where you can perform, or if you see like a lead, someone gives you a lead of some sort, just make sure you reach out as quickly as you can and contact that potential client. Okay. Just perform as much as possible, and your time will come. Last one will be my last bonus tip is your market. So this is just what has worked for me. So a lot of entertainers will say, just pick one market and just kind of focus on that. So maybe you're a magician that just does corporate, or maybe you're a magician that just does birthday parties, whatever the case may be. But for me, what's worked for me is I have tapped into as many markets as I can. Okay, now you might say, oh, well, how does that work? But for me, that's what's worked. So I specialize. It just makes myself be a versatile entertainer. And I think that's what's helped me. I don't just do corporate shows because like, oh, well, if I have a festival, I have a wedding, I have after prom. Well, we can't hire a David because he only does corporate and that's it. So I don't have a direct market that I aim for. I hit them all, and that's how I'm able to do it full time because that's what's worked for me over the years. So I do corporate events, company parties, banquets, wedding receptions, libraries, blue and gold banquets, festivals. I just try to basically perform wherever I can because I love to perform. And I even offer private lessons. I do magic lessons for the local park districts. I do private lessons online over Zoom right now with everything going on. So that's and one last bonus tip is I always encourage this one's more geared for magicians. Is just this last part is I always encourage magicians to do a weekly restaurant gig. Try to get a local residency. Because it helps me book a lot of shows. It helps me stay in the public. I'm always handing out cards. I always get a practice close. A lot of times when I get booked for my own show, I'm just doing my stage shows. But if I have a restaurant, I know once a week, twice a week, maybe if you get 2 or 3 restaurants, I've done 2 or 3 a week in the past. But I always know every week I'm going to have that night to practice, keep my close-up skills sharp. And it motivates me to practice, to learn new stuff. So eventually I'm going to come out with some other videos. I don't know if I'll be doing them live like this. I might just come out with some other videos, but I have some ideas that I have. But if you guys have any suggestions or ideas of other videos that you might like to see me do, definitely drop those in the comments later. So I think that's pretty much about it. Again, like I said, this is just my opinion, what's worked for me, and I'm happy to share with you. If you have any other questions, maybe later you can think of a question, drop them down below in the comments. I'll do my best to try to answer them. And like I said, I know that was a lot of information, but don't worry because I'll be leaving this up so you can watch it over and over and over. So if anyone has any questions now, I'll go ahead and you can go ahead and type those in the chat. And I hope you guys got something out of this, maybe learned a little bit. And if you did enjoy it, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow my channel here during, like I said, during this whole pandemic, I kind of started working on my YouTube channel. And so, yeah, so if you would subscribe, maybe like, comment, that would be awesome. And let's see if we have any questions. Excuse me while I drink some tea because my throat's all dry. Let's see. Hello, Ciderman Magic. Greetings. Thank you for joining, Jennifer, everyone. Ryan Cartrick, Steve, Sean. So it looks like we got a question. Sean asks, David, what are the best ways to get your name out there for gigs? Word of mouth, flyers, business cards, website. What are the best ways to get your name out there for gigs? Well, word of mouth is definitely like how I book a lot of my stuff. So word of mouth is very important. That's why, again, it goes back to being prepared, the preparation. Make sure you have a great show. Make sure everything's polished. So that way, that's your best advertisement. When you're out there performing, that happens to me all the time. They'll come up afterwards and say, hey, can I have a card or two? And then someone else will call me and be like, hey, I saw you at this other event. Can you come do my event? So word of mouth is definitely the best form of advertisement. Yeah, flyers. I used to do flyers when I first started. I used to hang them, they used to like you write your phone number and then they rip it off or whatever and take it like in the grocery stores and stuff like that, department stores. I used to do that. I used to do flyers if I moved to like a new town. Not a lot of people read the paper now, but I used to do like a couple of, like if I move, I used to move a lot when I was back in the day. So I would actually contact my newspaper and ask them if they were interested in maybe doing a story on me, or if I could even pay for like an advertisement in the newspaper. But now with social media, I mean, you could, I get a lot of shows through my Facebook page actually. And just having a website helps a lot. Business cards, like I mentioned earlier, definitely you always want to have business cards with you and always just hand them out. I mean, they're cheap, like I said, you can buy it, 1,000, 5,000 for, super cheap. So just always hand out your card. If they throw them away, that's fine. I mean, that's why the argument is people say, oh, well, don't just hand them out. If they don't ask, they're just going to throw them away. Well, you have tons, so it's better, maybe they won't throw it away. So I always hand out my business card, always, even if they don't ask. And that's what has worked for me. So good question, Sean. Good question. Jennifer asked, David, really good on camera as a teacher. Very organized, relaxed, and is really clear. Well, thank you, Jennifer. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. My wife, she's like, are you nervous? I was like, no, I'm just talking, but no, I appreciate that. I think it's kind of new to me though. So I will be totally honest. Yeah, this is my first time doing this. So I was nervous and just seeing if I would even have any people log on to see me blab. So I appreciate it, Jennifer. Loyal Magic. As far as payment goes from a restaurant, is it unprofessional to request cash if they ask? And are there certain scenarios where you won't charge the restaurants at all because you'll make out well on tips? So, I mean, that's how I do it. I always, I have them pay me. I mean, they can pay you cash, they can pay you check. I mean, usually you have to, it's better if they have pay you, with check or whatever. So a lot of restaurants they have to pay you with a check, where you won't charge the restaurants at all. So a lot of times what I do, and a lot of magicians are going to argue with me about this, and that's fine because like I said, this is what's worked for me. But a lot of times what I do is I'll offer them a free night. And like I said, some people don't think you should do that, but that's what I do. And it's worked for me. Is I'll offer like a free night, but I only do like 1 or 2 hours. And I basically say, I'll come in one night and do an hour or two of magic for your customers, for your guests. And if they like it, then we can talk price. And usually if you can get your door and do one night, usually I'd say about 9 out of 10 times that I've done that, I've gotten the job. So sometimes it's just hard to get your foot in the door, but so that's a great question. Yeah, so I always try to, at least, like I said, I'll do the first night for free, but then after that, I'll ask, that they pay me a fee. And sometimes people give me tips. I'll take them if they offer them. I don't want to be rude or, but I don't work for tips. So if people ask, they ask me all the time, are we supposed to tip you? I say, well, you can if you like, but it's not necessary. The restaurant, pays me to be here. So that's what I do. That's worked for me. So good question. Ciderman Magic asks, what are your thoughts on adapting your close-up effects to work for a bigger audience? What are your thoughts on adapting your close-up effects to work for? That's a great question. So during these, like I said, during these times I've been doing my shows over Zoom, that's been pretty, that's exactly what I've been doing. So I've been trying to use that as an angle of booking my shows, as saying it's kind of like a hybrid show, because you're getting a lot of my best stage and parlor magic, as well as close-up, because now I'm able to do close-up, like, obviously right in front of the camera, where if I was on a stage, I couldn't do my close-up. So I've been doing, Ciderman, if that's not exactly what you're asking, you can tell me in the chat there, but I think that's what you're kind of meaning, right? Is what are my thoughts on adapting for a bigger audience? I don't have the luxury. That would be awesome to like the Shin Lims and all those guys that do big theater shows and have like a camera on them and they're able to project it on the screen. I think that's awesome. I don't have that capability. So when I do my shows, my close-up shows, or my stage shows, I'm not able to do any close-up, but I think being able to do it in your show is pretty awesome. And that's the great thing about doing shows over Zoom is I'm able to do close-up magic as well. So Cecilia, hey Cecilia, I've seen you perform and I love it. Tell us one of your favorite times on stage. One of my favorite times on stage, I have lots of them. It's hard to pick just one. Well, I sold out with a buddy of mine. We did a show at Circa 21 here in the Quad Cities, which is a historic theater here, and we sold it out. I think it was 2-3 years ago. So that was awesome. I used to open for Comedy Sports, which is an improv. They're no longer in the area. They have another troupe called Guys in Ties, but I used to work for them for 8 years, and that was another one of my favorite places to perform here in the Quad Cities. Was there at it was at the Establishment Theater there. But I have too many, of course, when I worked in Vegas as well. So someone asked me earlier. So I used to live in Vegas. I live in Iowa now. I'm from Iowa. So I live in Iowa now. All right. So good questions. And Ryan. All right. Sonic. Hey, Sonic. What's up, man? Nice seeing you. You're going fast, brother. Good job. Hey, man. Thanks. I have been having a lot of supporters. Sean Hawk Magic, Jennifer, Loyal Magic, Ryan Loyal Magic, JS Magic, Jonathan Schumacher. I've had a lot of people that have inspired me and I admire, and they've definitely they're trying to. I tell them, you got to teach me these social media. I'm so new to the whole YouTube thing, so I appreciate that. I'm trying to grow. And Sonic, I always watch your videos all the time. I love your reaction videos. So Sonic's kind of hooked me on to watching beatbox. There's some awesome guys out there. So thanks, Sonic, for tuning in. Jennifer, David, how have you been getting by during this pandemic with magic? Jennifer, it's been super difficult. Actually, it's been really hard. It's been like I had an interview the other day. I said the struggle is real. It's being a full-time entertainer and not being able to do live shows is not good. So that's why I've been doing more online classes and private classes all over Zoom, all over during this pandemic. So yeah, it sucks. It's hard, and as for all entertainers, any, musicians it's been tough. So, I'm trying to do the best I can and just trying to stay positive, working on new magic, just trying to keep my mind busy because mentally it's been challenging as well. So it's been tough, but we'll get through it, just take it day by day and just try to stay positive and just keep trying to book virtual shows like I've been doing and just try to stay busy. So Loyal asks, if you approach a table and there's a family sitting there and they have children, do you tend to do the children first to keep them occupied? Ooh, that's a good question. So that's a great question. So yeah, typically, I'll do stuff that I know the kids and the adults will like. That's kind of my style. I kind of know what effects work for, I guess, both for adults and kids. But yeah, I usually will do something because we're at the Applebee's that I work at. It's kids night, so there's a lot of kids come in. So yeah, so I'll hit tables that have the kids first because I know a lot of them are there. The servers will tell me and say, "Hey, my table's waiting to see you." So I will typically hit tables that have kids first, so I can make sure I entertain them, and I know the parents. The parents appreciate that as well. That especially if they're being rowdy or getting restless. So yeah, so I usually go to the tables with the kids first, and I do have a lot of regulars that come in just to see me all the time. So. But usually they're pretty understanding. So I'll do the tables with kids first, and then I will go to the adults. But as far as magic, though, I'll just do something that I know they'll all enjoy. Jennifer, are you doing well financially with the virtual magic shows? Yeah, I'm not doing bad. Like I said, I wish I was booking more work, to be totally honest. I wish I was booking more than I am. But yeah, I mean, they're I guess they're helping pay the bills, I guess, is best. So my wife just went back to work too, so that helps as well. So Sean asked another great question, Ryan. I'm actually curious about that. Oh, okay. Thanks, buddy. Jennifer says, I heard one magician say they walk up to a table with children and pull a coin out of their ear or something, and then you give them the coin and they end up playing with it, and then they are quiet. That's a good idea. I guess I've never done that. And every magician has a different styles. Like I think I was speaking to someone the other day. I think actually it was Ryan, maybe when he interviewed me the other day. So yeah, everyone has their own style, their own approach when they approach people. I like to I'm more like laid back, and I'm dressed in a suit and tie typically. So people that don't know me, they just assume I'm the manager. So I kind of use that to my advantage. But they'll come up to me and say, hey, my fork's dirty, or hey, can I get a refill, or hey, our food's taking long. So, and I'm like, oh, sorry about that. Let me grab your server. So I get it all the time. They think I'm the manager. So I just kind of play off of it, I don't tell them. I tell them eventually, like, hey, I'm actually the magician. But so when I approach a table, I just talk to them. I don't even tell them I'm the magician if they don't know. So yeah, they do. They think I'm the manager all the time. So I just kind of use that to my advantage, and I catch their attention right away. They're like, and then I tell them I'm a magician, or or we just get to talking. They're like, oh, I thought you were the manager. I didn't know they had a magician here. It's funny. I've been there for like 8-9 years, and they still don't know that there's a magician there every Wednesday night for kids' night. So, but yeah, so I just, like I said, I'm more laid back. My approach, my style, what works for me is I just go up to the table and I just ask them how their food is. Hey, folks, how you doing? Everything tasting okay tonight? Oh, good. Glad to hear that. One thing I just thought of, sometimes people ask me is, when's the best time to approach a table? I never approach a table while they're eating. Okay. Cause like I said, again, about leaving your ego at the door, they're not there to see you. Well, sometimes they are, they'll tell you, but they're there to eat. Right. So I don't interrupt them while they're eating. If they insist on me showing them something, then I ask for permission, because sometimes they're like, oh, we got to go. Can you show, little Johnny something before we go or whatever? And I say, oh yeah, sure. Okay. Well, do you want me to come back? And they're like, no, just do it now. So if they give you permission, I do, but I always wait till the server comes, takes their order, and then I approach them. That's when I approach them. I just kind of keep an eye on things. And when I see that they're there, if they're eating like a salad, something that's, like an appetizer, I think it's fine then. But once their main meal comes, I disappear, I head out. And if they ask me to come back, I'll come back after they're done and show them something. So I always wait till they order their food, then I approach the table. So that's a restaurant tip for you. Sonic says, I know you magicians have routines and certain tricks, but how many tricks magic is a good enough number to start performing live? Just curious. How many tricks magic is good enough number to start performing live? If you're doing, Sonic, great question, Sonic. If you're just doing like close up, let's say I'd say like 2 or 3, have 2 or 3 really good tricks. If you're just doing like, close up, like if you're going to like a party or whatever, you don't want to overwhelm yourself. Don't try to be like, oh, I have to learn 10 tricks before. Like if you're doing a show, obviously you're going to want to learn a few more. But if you're just doing like if you were just going to like a restaurant, let's say, or whatever, I mean, I do like 4. I probably carry about 10 tricks on me, and I maybe do like 4 or 5 like all night long, and then I always have a couple extra that are brand new in case I get a regular. I want to have something to show them, something new to show them. So, but yeah, I would say start 2 or 3 and just learn them really well. So that would be my advice on that. Just to start performing live, yeah, I would say like 2 to 3 really good ones, and then just kind of build up from there. At what point when you're trying to land a restaurant gig do you take no for an answer? For instance, they say they will get back to you and you don't hear from them for a week, and you continue to stop by there until what point if they're not physically telling you no? That's a good question. So yeah, that's happened to me lots of times too. I'll talk to the manager and I'll give them a card, and then they'll say, oh, we'll call you back. I usually give it about a week. If they don't call me back, I'll call them again. Say, hey, I'm just touching base. I met you last week. I'm David Casas, whatever, say, they'll probably have forgotten, be like, oh yeah, I remember you. And, sometimes if you can kind of tell after the first conversation, if they're kind of giving you the runaround. But I'll try at least a couple times, 2, 3 times, 3 times max. Like if they keep telling you, even if they haven't told me no, but they keep telling me they'll get back to me, you're just wasting your time at that point. I'll go find another restaurant that will find value in having me there. So, but that's a great question. So 2 or 3 times tops. And if they keep telling you, we'll get back to you or whatever, or, you're just best to go look somewhere else. You're just wasting your time at that point. There's so many restaurants. That's why I always tell people here, like there's so many restaurants in the area. If like one restaurant keeps giving me the runaround, well, I'll just go find somewhere else. Because one of them, you're going to get told no a lot. So that's another thing that if you're talking about restaurant magic, you're going to get told no a lot. So don't let that discourage you because one of them will say yes. Okay, Sean, do you magically disappear? Just regularly disappear? Well, of course, magically disappear, Sean. Come on now. Of course, magically disappear. Hope, Ryan, that answers your question. Oh, you repeat same trick the same night from table to table? Jennifer, yes. Yes. That's why I love restaurant magic, because when you get a brand new trick, you can do it 20, 30 times a night. Every table. Like if I get a new trick, I literally will do it every table, because that's how you get polished so quick. You're doing the same trick 20, 30 times a night. So I do this. I'll have maybe a set 3, 4 tricks. Like I always have a good opener. You want a great opener, some flashy that catches their attention. Then I have what I call middle tricks. And then I will end with my closing trick. So I have different tricks that I know are great openers, that are great middler, like filler tricks, if you want to say that way. And then great closer tricks that'll just, so you want to leave them wanting more. So I usually like to do, if it's a really good table, I'll do 3 tricks, maybe 4 tops. But I don't want to do all my stuff, because chances are they're going to come back the very next week to see you, and you don't want to have shown them all of your stuff already. So give them just a little enough to leave them wanting more. And so that's a good question. So so I do the same tricks over and over, especially if I'm doing something new. But like I said, I don't want to get bored myself. So I'll kind of, I might do my one opener this table, and then the next table I'll do a different opener. So I kind of change it up, just kind of improv it. Sean asks, what do you do if you're performing magic at a table and a few other people staying there to watch and crowd around the table and make the people eating at the particular table uncomfortable? Usually, Sean, they don't do that, but what they will do is they'll kind of if they're leaving, they usually don't stop and watch. Sometimes they might, but they'll keep on walking. Usually what they'll do, what I think is funny, is I'll approach a table and they'll tell me no. Like it happens. People are like, oh, could I show you some magic? And they're like, no, I don't want to see anything. I'm like, okay, and I'm professional. I'm like, okay, thank you for your time. I understand not everybody likes magic, so don't get offended if somebody tells you no, they don't want to see anything. So, and then I'll go to the next table, and then I'll be entertaining these folks, and they're hooting and hollering and clapping. And then I kind of catch them out of the corner of my eye watching. And I just kind of think, oh, now you guys want to watch? Like, you didn't want to see anything. So, if I'm feeling ornery that night, I'll just kind of stand in their way there, so they can't see what I'm doing. I'll just kind of, I'll move my body so that they can't watch. I'm like, oh, well, you didn't want to see nothing. So, and then maybe I'll go back and be like, oh, did you want to see something? Or usually they'll grab me and they'll say, hey, come show us something. So now they want to see something. So, but yeah, so usually they don't stop, Sean, when they're walking out, but they will try to watch, maybe if they've told me no. Jennifer, has that ever happened? Yeah. So, yeah, I think I just answered that. So yeah, they usually don't do that, but Sideman Magic, investing in bigger props for larger audiences that allows to do the same type of effects you do close up on the street to be able to expand your market. Your thoughts? Investing in bigger props. I'm just trying to understand your question. Investing in bigger props for larger audiences that allows you to do the same type of effects you do close up on the street. Some of them are pricey, good investment. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the good stuff, Ciderman, is definitely pricey, but yeah, they are good investments. Yeah. Yep. So I mean, I have a lot of stage props they're pretty pricey, but yeah, I mean they're definitely good investments. So yeah, that's definitely a great idea. So I think you're asking me, is it a good idea to invest in bigger props for larger audiences? Is that kind of what you're asking me? I think Spider-Man Magic. You want to clarify on that? Yeah, I mean, I definitely would. Anything you can make, I've invested a lot of stuff to make my show, better and just get new props when you're not rich. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, magic's expensive for sure. So even 3 or 4 tricks is good for a night at a restaurant, Jennifer. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, because it's different people, so you can do that. That's what's cool about it. You can literally do the same 3 or 4 tricks the whole night because it's going to be different tables. Like I said, I usually will carry about like 8 to 10 tricks with me, and some nights I won't even do half of them because if I get like a bunch of like new people, let's say, that have never seen me, I kind of know what I'm going to show them already. So then I just do the same 3, 4 tricks at that table. And then I get another table that's never seen me. I'll just change it up for myself because I don't want to get bored, like I said. So I might just change it up and do something different at that next table. But yeah, so yeah, 3 or 4 is plenty. Blocking them so they can't see. Yep, Sean. Well, they didn't want to see me. So yeah. people they don't even know what you're going to do, and they just judge you. Oh, magic, and they think it's silly magic, and then it's funny because then I'll do something and they'll be like, oh man, this guy's like legit. Like, I don't know what they thought of. Maybe I should just pull out my ball and vase or something like that. We'll do a couple more questions. We're at looks like we're almost at our hour. I was going to do about an hour, so we'll take a couple more questions, and then I'll again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. This has been my first time doing this, so I think I want to do a couple other videos. I was thinking maybe like we kind of touched on it, but exactly like more detailed, like how to book a restaurant, maybe like my great tricks for openers, great tricks for closers, maybe my favorite tricks that I like to perform, how to handle hecklers, accepting tips, just different things on restaurant magic, because I really enjoy doing restaurant magic, and I've seen a lot of videos on restaurant magic, and there's always like 1 or 2 tidbits that I wish they would have said. Now that I've been doing it so long, that I've learned, and think it'd be cool to share it to all of you. So share different things that I've learned in my experiences. What was the most expensive prop you have ever purchased for a trick, and was it worth it? A couple of my most, I guess, a couple that come to mind right away is my Losander floating table, like $1,500-$1,800, something like that. My robotic electronic chicken was like, I think around 15 as well. So yeah, they were definitely worth it though. I mean, you get what you pay for. I mean, unfortunately, like I said, magic's not cheap, but yeah, luckily and fortunate enough for me that anything I've spent that much money on was definitely worth it, or I wouldn't be very happy if I bought something that expensive and it wasn't that good. So, but yeah, anything that I've bought that's been that expensive, like I said, Losander floating tables are like the best floating tables out there money can buy. So, I mean, I purchased it. It's like, it's the closer of my show now. And so, yeah, the couple things that I bought that are really expensive have definitely been worth it. Good question, Sonic. The chicken trick. Yes, that's one of my favorite. Leslie Casas. Not sure who that is, but just kidding, folks. That's my wife. I don't want to sleep on the couch tonight. Leslie, my wife asks, thanks for tuning in. See, she's one of the 8, so I only have 7 people on, but she's always been very supportive of me. So she asked, what is your favorite routine to perform on stage and close-up? Well, my favorite routine used to perform was my bird act, my dove act, that I no longer do. That was definitely my favorite thing to perform on stage. I also love the comedy portion of my show. That's a lot of people come up to me and say, we really love how you mix comedy and sleight of hand and illusion. audience participation all in one show. So I actually like the comedy part as well, because I bring up volunteers. Anytime I get to interact with the audience, that's always a favorite part of my show, because you never know what they're going to do, what they're going to say, react. Even though you're doing the same tricks, people act different. Close up, I have, what's my favorite thing to perform close up? I don't know. I have too many. Sonic question. I need help with that, handling hecklers. Hi, Leslie. That was amazing, David. Thank you so much. Keep it up. Good question, Leslie. Great question, Leslie. Do you have a lot of pre-show work? We'll take 2 more questions. Do you do a lot of pre-show work? For my stage shows, yes. I have a lot of props that I have to set up. A lot of it I'll set up at home beforehand, and I'll put it all on my table. My shows, I like to pack small, play big. So I just have like one table that folds down. I usually have everything already set up inside. So when I get there, I just flip open the table, and then they're already set up, but I just kind of, place them where I want in my table, and they're ready to go. And then there'll be a couple things I have to set up. Like if I do my my Chester chicken trick, I have to it'll be in a Tupperware container, and I have to, put it together. Same with my floating table, things like that. But so not too much, no. And then if I have to set up a sound system, that's about it. So yeah. Well, thank you guys. I think we'll end there. I appreciate you guys tuning in again. Please subscribe to my channel if you like the information. Again, if you want to see anything else, any other suggestions, or if maybe you have some tips you could offer to other entertainers, feel free to post those in the comment section as well. So yeah, I think that's we got one more question. With pre-show, I mean acting with potential spectators to gather information, force things. Okay, I get you. No, I don't really do that, Jennifer, in my shows. I'll interact with them after the show. Sometimes I'll do like meet and greet, stuff like that, or I just like to come out and talk to the folks as they're heading out. Sometimes I'll sell merchandise at my shows. But yeah, so as far as gathering information, forcing things, I get what you're saying now. No, I don't really do any of that stuff. Not yet. I guess if they ask for a weekly gig from you, do you do like a handshake deal with them, or is there a contract involved? Great question. Are you talking about, I'm assuming you're talking about the restaurants, Ryan. You could, contract is definitely, I would say the safest way to go, I guess. A lot of the ones that I've worked at, I haven't used the contract. I just the verbal, commitment, like, yeah, come, start coming every week or whatever. So they'll tell you when they don't want you to come anymore. But usually, like I said, the Applebee's I've been for 8-9 years, I think now. So a long time. So yeah, some I've had done contracts. Other ones I haven't. Just the verbal agreement. All right. So, all right, Son. Oh, we gotta do Steve's on it. We'll do 2. All right. Last questions. Here we go. 2 to go. Have you thought of street vlogging, doing magic to strangers and uploading to YouTube as content? I guess people like vlogging, and we have all seen David. Sonic, yes, great question. Yes, so because of the pandemic, I haven't been. Obviously, right now I don't feel comfortable going out in public, but yes. So if you're talking about like doing street magic and stuff like that, yes, that's what my next goal is to do. One of the things, like I said, that kind of inspired me to start building my YouTube channel was watching people like Loyal Magic and JS Magic, Jonathan Schumacher doing their street magic. And yes, I used to watch the David Blaine specials as well when he first came out. I actually used to do a lot of street magic at like festivals and stuff. Way back in the day, I just never recorded it. So I've done it before. I just, now I'm going to go do it and record it. And like I said, I'm trying to learn how to edit everything on my own now. So, but yeah, so Sonic, yes, as soon as, it's safer to get out in public, that's exactly what I plan on doing is recording myself doing street magic and putting it up my YouTube channel. Last question, Steven. Hey, Steven, thanks for joining, Steve. Wondering if do mentalism for stage and close up, what kind of prop? You're asking if I do mentalism, Steve? Is that what you're asking? If I do mentalism? going to type to him real quick. If that's what you're asking, Steve, I just typed there for you. Wondering if I do mental. I do a couple of mentalism effects now in my stage show, and I'm actually just starting to learn some mentalism for my close-up and for my walk-around, which, yeah. So I do a couple of things, Steve, right now, mentalism. I do a couple of comedy ones, and I do a serious one. And it's slipping my mind now, the name of it. That's from doing like, 30, 40, 50 emails every day, Jennifer, trying to book work. So that's another thing. You never want to sit and wait for work to come to you. I go find work. So that's from typing emails all the time. So I do a couple in my show now, Stephen. A couple of mentalism effects in my stage, and then I'm actually just starting to learn some close-up mentalism as well. So that's kind of intrigued me now, the whole mentalism thing. So, all right. Well, thank you guys. I'll stop talking your ear off. That's a lot of information that I shared tonight. So I hope everybody learned a little something tonight. I just kind of even just barely scratched the surface because there's a lot more things that I could share, but I don't want to keep you all night long. So thank you guys. You have an awesome night. I really, really appreciate your support. Again, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe, like, comment. Like I say, if you have any suggestions for other videos you'd like me to do in the future, please leave that down there as well. And until next time, guys, I will leave you with my motto in magic. Always work hard, always stay humble. Take care. Good night. Thank you, guys.